I have to assume at some point, like Jung or something kind of hit you pretty
Oh, sure.
hard, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, 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 yeah. I would
um,
say what literally started it all is Plato's World of Forms, whatever.
fuck
I
yeah.
saw that and I was like, oh, yeah, that's literally already how I think. And I already kind of think in an archetypal format for it. And I realized the
And we
archetype is a
all
word.
do because that's the basis of
Yeah,
Western
we
culture.
all
We just don't
do. We
see
all
it a lot of the
do.
time.
We all
Yeah.
do. Because truthfully, the way I see the story go, have you ever spun a ball and then like a rubber ball and then dropped it on a table? What it'll do is like it'll like bounce off the table, change its direction of spin completely, and then while bouncing towards the direction it was originally spinning. And then it'll land and it'll kind of go back where it started, and then it'll go back to where it came from, back to where it started, back to where it came from. You know what I'm talking about? It kind of like
Yeah, like when
it
you
always,
spin a basketball and throw it towards someone, it go pew, shoots off the other way.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's what it does on the ground, but it's kind of just doing it almost looks like a rainbow, and then like it keeps adding more drops and like more rainbows on the inside of it until it reaches a center point in the middle. If you do it from neutral, like if I'm spinning it this way, it'll go further this way than it comes back. But if I throw it a little bit diagonal this way and spin it this way, it'll stay in the middle forever. And like if I just go like here, it'll like keep going boom 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 boom. But if you throw it with a little extra force this way, it'll go the other way. You know, but then if it's like a too hot, too cold type scenario. But if you do it in the middle, it'll like kind of stay in the middle or closer. You just gotta like really get it
That
like
was
for
pretty
the
good.
jut to the side. You know
Yeah.
what But then sometimes
Ooh.
it'll go the other way if I jut it too far to the side. So I have to have a good spin and a good initial like y-intercept. You know what I mean, or whatever you would call it for the formula. Low key, low key, low key, low key. This is up from my headcanon perspective. Because, see, I want to be able to talk from three perspectives of Evan, though. I want to be talking from me, the neutral middle ground that I've been working towards. I want to be able to talk from the overhead, Evan, and I might talk sternly at some of those, but I mean, it's just fucking truth. Trust me, don't work it out yourself. You're going to be pissed when you work it out yourself. That's one of those voices. It's coming from that truthful
The
place.
Vajra sword.
And then there's the head cannon. This is the body that's been taken on this fucking ride. It just needs to blow up some steam about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, the headcanon
yeah,
thing, I associate it with kind of modernizing a lot of the lingo that associates with this
yeah.
like pretty high philosophy.
It's the story you got to tell your ape brain to get your ape brain to take it to the muscle memory. You know what I mean? You got to get it
Yeah,
like in
you're
your
working
head.
with all the
In
stuff
your
you
head.
were raised with and all the
Yeah,
your
you,
culture
the
that
awareness, can feel these like abstract nuances. You ever piss off a person and they don't know how you pissed them off? Like they still got pissed off, but like they just can't articulate it. They can't put it in their monkey brain for like to get it in there and stuff like that. And I tell a story, tell a story. If that works, sure.
skillful means. Yeah, like
It doesn't. When
you're gonna
some
piss
dude
off some
breaks my
monkeys if
ankles,
you go around spouting
yeah.
gospel.
If some dude broke my ankles in basketball or dunked on me and stuff like that, and he told me that he had to tell himself a story to do that, it's like, oh, I don't care. I don't care about your fucking. Like that is not at all what I cared about during that interaction. Was the story you were telling yourself in your head? That meant nothing to me. You
That's legit.
know. Because when I grew up, I think truthfully, I did have a mindset of, oh, I want to be cool. I like cool people. I want to be cool and stuff
Oh,
like
for
that.
sure.
What does it mean to be cool? What does it mean to be cool? You know, if you're like the cool person, if you do the stuff the cool person does, you're like exalting the cool person and potentially gaining coolness. But if you just become cooler than the cool person, then you're potentially taking away from the cool person. I mean, originally, I guess, but not even implicitly. You're just also a cool person. Like it's incredible to think to yourself that like, oh wow, that was like the best form for a basketball shot. It's like, dude, if yours go in every time, yours will be studied as if it was the best. Like, yeah, literally, if you make every shot with bad form, they will study your form, and you might trick a lot of like people into doing that. I mean, legitimately, you might be that cool that you can lead people astray. That's all coolness is.
Now, do you, this tendency to kind of take everything you perceive and view it clear to like the horizon line? Would you say that's been with you? Like that's a part of that you is sort of inborn or a learned capacity or something you pursued?
Yeah,
Like,
and so that becomes like one of those I want to be like Mike type things. But I don't know. I think whenever I was younger, I was always that like perceptive type person and stuff like that.
It's kind of
Uh,
just who you are. Like you were
well,
always looking
no,
for
the
the most
story just kept
underlying.
going.
Yeah.
Like if you have a story each week in your head, and you learn from it, you whatever. The story just kept fucking going. You
Does
know,
this come
and,
out of being kind of bored or disenchanted with the
yeah,
superficial?
I
Maybe.
guess to actually describe myself, like I have no sort of any mental disease diagnosis whatsoever.
Hmm.
I had gotten like a vague threat of ADHD clinic visit or something like that at one point, one time, and as broad of a thing as that is, like I have no idea. I have no perception of it.
Well,
No,
you have to be creating problems for it to, to get
yeah,
to really
and
get
so that's
diagnosed.
what. Yeah, I
It
agree
has
with
to be
that as well.
problematic.
It can be incorporated into the story, right? And so, like for me, I always had that. You are the person in your head. I've always had inner monologue. I've never not had inner monologue. I've always, I guess, known and treated my inner self as someone that other people can't see. When I come to these LeBron examples, sometimes I could copy the way he does a dunk. And so I could do it perfectly as long as I have the perfect circumstances. It was just I saw what he did. Now, what does he do when he has a hand in his face and does that dunk? Could I do the perfect LeBron adjustment to the dunk as he would have? It's like, probably not. Because he has the intuition of LeBron, which does LeBron dunks. So he gets to be able to
Yeah.
freely do it. You are the copycat that can only do it once you've seen it.
So imitation is kind of ineffective, at least if you're not
You
being
you get to be
authentic.
black in the chess board, right? You get to copy your opponent's move,
And I think this
but
gets
only
right
after
to
they
the
do it.
heart of kind of my criticism of spiritual teaching in general is it's being taught by someone who's like talented to someone who doesn't
Yeah,
have the same set of
yeah,
talents,
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like a match made in heaven if some sort of guru is going to work for some sort of seeker. And it's like almost like that relationship, guru and seeker, needs to be maintained. So it's
Yeah,
almost like there's no way you're ever going to get there.
yeah, but I know a few of my like I diagnosed my body pretty good about like what has been my influences and stuff. And in a Jungian archetype sense, I would say Jester is what I am. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, like my body, but like I would say a Jester competitor, a Jester hero archetype. Hero could be villain very easily, but I think hero
Hmm.
is the most like argumentative, fightable archetype that I can think of. Spartan Jester type thing. And truthfully, that is what I think I just naturally affinity to. Like I used to think like, oh, is that ironic? Is that unironic? Is that whatever? Is that fuck
Hmm.
it? If I'm already debating this, I mean, this is the center point, is it not?
And
Like,
you've been talking more recently about sort of embracing the more magician kind of archetype side of
yeah,
things.
yeah, exactly. There's sage, there's magician, there's love, a mother. I mean, the caregiver, whatever. There's a million different. I mean, not a million. There's 12 in like a quadranted circle. I don't know if there's any particular order
That's
to
pretty
that.
beautiful. It splits into threes and fours pretty
Yeah,
evenly. And
exactly.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And there's no particular order for them really. And so it's like you can make, I mean, gosh, is that enough to make all the stories? I think about that sometimes and I say fast wise. I say fast wise because if I think about it, I have a head canon for see, but a head canon can be whatever the fuck you want because I said so. It's like
Yeah.
who said that, Evan? Who said that? It's like I don't know what boy said that. I mean, I fucking did, right? I made it ambiguous
Yeah,
on purpose,
absolutely.
on purpose,
Just
on
throw out
purpose.
anything that doesn't serve, and because this is you teaching, this is
Yeah,
you spreading your
it's
truth.
so funny. It's one of those that you get to do whatever the fuck you want with it,
Yeah.
right? That's the point. That's the point. I like the reason I act like this and I'm so overt and blatant like this is because I'm trying to get the point across that you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yep.
You listen to NWA too much. Yeah, if you want to be a kid that listens to NWA like that, then what? Then what? You're just a guy that does that and doesn't shoot cops? Okay. Noted.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. But I'm sorry. I mean, what if that sounds disrespectful? Either quit listening to NWA or start. I'm not advocating for that. You know. Like that, those type of analogies that I was saying right there. I just like saw a crowd that I could snipe, and like I just had like a roast prepared for them. Just because when we were talking about like that pattern that I did there, I was like, oh, it lights up a few different archetypes in my brains. I can smell a few different foods in this. I can taste a few different flavors. And even those analogies I sprinkle on those like double ones right there. Sometimes I used to just do one analogy, but now I do two for redundancy. I've learned a little bit about coding.
Yeah, you sort of have like a synesthesia with these archetypes. Like it's like an endless analogy. Like everything
Yeah,
applies to everything, kind of crossover, and it
yeah,
always
and
comes home to the primal, the ground.